This is Facilities Jeopardy! Please welcome today's contestants, Roger Bruszewski, Pam, Elliott, Kane, and last but not least, Sherry Tone.
Good, well, let's get back to our game. I think we're doing good, well on time here, so let's get back to our game. And we're back to Roger, and before the roof caves in, a topic that I think everybody in this room is particularly interested in.
It caves in because I'm behind.
Yeah, so for the $100 question, as we mentioned earlier, a large percentage of buildings are constructed between 1960 and 75, and it's contributing to the driving up of the backlog. So the national average backlog on campuses across the board is now approaching a really critical dollar level that I think you're fairly familiar with, give or take $5 a square foot. Can you give us a sense as to what you think the national average backlog is now approaching from a dollar per square foot perspective?
Plus or minus $5?
Yeah. A square foot. Yeah.
I would say about 7. What is $7 a square foot?
No. The total backlog. Oh, the total backlog. Yes.
Oh, jeez.
We could. I mean, I can give you another chance to ask the audience if you want to try that again.
Yeah, let's do that.
What do you
Let's
think?
see.
Measured this on your campus?
I'm going to pick somebody. Who was the guy that yelled out before? Boy, they're quiet all of a sudden, aren't they? Over there. Who was the guy that yelled out before? Come on. All right, stand up. Let's go. Help me out here.
National average backlog. Okay. Anybody else? Think that's a little low or high? I'm thinking it's a little high. That's a little low. What do you think?
50. It's 50.
Okay. Wow. There's a range for you.
I'll take that range.
Split you. Well, we got to we could maybe split the difference or something. I don't go. Okay, that's okay. Well, anybody else? 45. What else? 75. We got. This is a hard question, right? We got a lot of different opinions on this one. Well.
Okay, so I'm going to go with what is $90?
What is $90 a square foot? Well, the answer, according to our database, is about 100. But I think judges, $90 a square foot, I think is going to be good. If you see, the public institutions right now in the blue are approaching $99 a square foot, and it's gone up 17% now in the last since 2007. The private is also at 85. And what's interesting about private institutions, if you look at this metric, they were 74, 74, 76, 78 before and then the recession hit, and look what they've done since the recession. So things are really rapidly deteriorating a lot of campuses right now. So that's kind of an interesting graphic. So yes, good. $190 is a good answer. Well, let's go to the $500 question. On a typical college campus, this percentage of the backlog impacts the reliability of buildings. So we talked about the backlog being approaching $100 a square foot, but what percentage of that is really affecting the reliability of the buildings to function? Because you've got these big numbers out there, even we heard 175. What percent do you think is impacting the reliability of the building?
Well, if I look at the last 4 renovation projects that I did on my campus, the biggest issues were mechanical issues, and those are the most expensive. So I'm going to say 60%. What is 60%?
Well, in fact, when we look at studies, that's to be incorrect. When we look at studies, it's only about 10%, 8 to 10% are actually affecting the reliability of buildings. So even though you've got this big backlog, in fact, a lot of it is not impacting the ability of the building to function, which may give some solace to those CFOs out there who don't think they have enough money. You've got to start thinking about that 10%, that 8 to 10% that is really affecting reliability, and put a priority on those particular projects. So, okay, let's go to the last question, the $1,000 question. These strategies work best to reduce the backlog. I know you've done a lot of work to reduce your backlog at Millersville. So is it A, and there could be more than one right answer, full renovation of our building, B, build a new building, C, interior painting and carpeting, or D, demolish a high backlog building? So it can be more than one answer, A, B, C, or D.
Well, you gave her a freebie where there's no wrong answer, so I'm going to say, what is A, B, C, and D?
Do you want to narrow that a little bit differently? Remember, reduce the backlog.
We all know C is stupid because that's
Right.
not going to do anything for your building.
Okay, so you can eliminate C.
So what is A?
I think we'll accept that. A, definitely renovation, but also demolishing, as you've seen on the PASHE system. D, if you demolish and replace it, the backlog is eliminated when you demolish the building. Now, you may or may not want to demolish a building because you may need the space, so that's always the trade-off. But demolishing buildings, and I was just talking with Mike Gower from Rutgers the other day, and they have over 1,000 buildings, and they're on a campaign to try to reduce the number of roofs. He said, we have 1,000 roofs. We don't want 1,000 roofs. We need to reduce that. And so demolishing buildings is one way if you can get away without using the space. But we're going to give you credit for that for $1,000. So what have we learned here? There are lots of studies that preach doom and gloom. We've produced some of them and written some articles, as Carol knows from Nakubo, about deferred maintenance and what's happening on college campuses. And there's no sugarcoating it. That in fact, there is a growing backlog. And it is significant. And it is impacting your ability to teach and be able to be successful in offering academic programs. But one of the things we're finding is that picking the right projects is important. Setting priorities, particularly on those reliability projects, which are critical to the building's functioning, and being able to set priorities that help you be able to function better is important. As we always say, you'll run out of money before you're going to run out of buildings.